I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including the arrest of a Darien man following a serious crash last month, a ground beef recall, and an interesting new Quinnipiac poll, and much more. We'll also play our final interview of the month with Silver Hill Hospital, focusing on chronic pain interventions. Frank Granito has a look at the forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update, and later in the show, Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, a 36-year-old man was killed following a shooting at a restaurant in Bridgeport over the weekend. WFSB reports that the unidentified victim was shot in the chest following some kind of dispute inside Parasso Restaurant on Madison Avenue. Police were called just after 10 p.m. The victim was taken to St. Vincent's Medical Center where he died. Detectives said they are pursuing leads in the case and that the crime scene has been processed. Anyone with information is urged to call Bridgeport Police at 203-581-5227. And Darien police report that 21-year-old James Riley of Pleasant Street was driving drunk last month when he crashed a car, the impact of which ejected the car's passenger. Back on Saturday, August 20th at about 9:30 at night, the Darien police responded to a serious motor vehicle accident on Hanson Road west of Linda Lane. Upon arrival, officers determined that a 21-year-old Darien man was operating a 1999 Chevy Blazer in the area of Linda Lane when the vehicle drove off the right side of the roadway, struck a stone wall, and collided with a tree, causing major damage to the right side of the vehicle. That damage was so severe that the right front passenger, who was also a 21-year-old Darien man, was ejected from the car. The vehicle then careened across both lanes of Hanson Road, striking a second tree on the shoulder of the eastbound lane, where it ultimately came to arrest. After learning that there was a warrant for his arrest, Riley turned himself in at Darien Police Headquarters on Friday. He was charged with 2 counts of second-degree assault with a motor vehicle, DUI, reckless operation of a vehicle, and improper turn. More on that story at DarienTimes.com. And in Stratford, a mother and child were attacked by 2 dogs while walking on Quinby Place shortly before 3 in the afternoon last Thursday. Stratford Police and Animal Control said the dogs, 1 Rottweiler and 1 Pit Bull, escaped from a yard at 225 Ruett Drive. The Rottweiler attacked a 22-month-old child. The mother was injured attempting to stop the attack, police said. A witness then assisted the mother using a shovel to help stop the dog. Both mother and child were taken to Bridgeport Hospital for treatment of their injuries. The dogs have been quarantined. And state health officials are warning residents to avoid ground beef and other products purchased recently from a farmer's market or a Connecticut farm after 2 state residents became ill and the slaughterhouse that processed the products issued a recall. The 2 Connecticut residents were hospitalized suffering from E. coli bacteria and were released after treatment. The Connecticut Department of Public Health and the U.S. Department of Agriculture said the contamination, which sickened 7 people in 4 states, was traced to Adams Slaughterhouse in Athol, Massachusetts. The slaughterhouse has recalled veal, bison, and beef products that tested positive for E. coli. The illnesses started on dates ranging from June 27th to September 4th. Those who become sick ranged in age from 1 year old to 74 years old, with a median age of 25. In addition to those sickened in Connecticut, 3 people in Massachusetts and 1 person in Pennsylvania and in West Virginia became ill. Officials said farmers bring their livestock to this business to be slaughtered, butchered, and packaged. Each package contains a code that tells when it was slaughtered. And the Stratford Star reports that 3 men robbed a Barnum Avenue convenience store at gunpoint early Thursday, September 22nd. Stratford police said on Friday that 2 black men entered the store around 2:30 Thursday morning and demanded cash from the store attendant at gunpoint. A 3rd black man captured on surveillance video entered before the other 2 and acted as a lookout, according to police. All 3 men fled together in a vehicle driven by a 4th suspect. No one was injured, and police said that they took about $600 from the store. Easton police have charged a Milford man and woman with third-degree larceny for allegedly stealing prescription medication and jewelry from the woman's family members. 21-year-old Nicole Krisham and 27-year-old Stephen Gordon, both of 58 Pumpkin Delight Road in Milford, turned themselves in last week upon learning that the Easton Police Department had an active warrant for their arrests. Both parties were released after posting a $10,000 bond and are scheduled to appear in court on September 29th. Well, let's switch gears now and throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you very much, Kate. We'll start out with plenty of sun early on today. Temperatures in the high 60s, maybe even making their way up into the 70s. Wind gusts of around 13 miles per hour throughout the day. And then we'll have some cloud cover rolling in by the late afternoon. Temperatures will drop down to a low of 62 degrees by the evening. And there is a chance for some on and off periods of rain overnight as we head into Tuesday morning. Tuesday will be mostly cloudy again in the morning with occasional showers that should pass through before midday. On and off periods of sun in the afternoon with an expected high of 73 degrees. It will be partly cloudy overnight with temperatures falling all the way down to the low 50s. And Wednesday will be overcast throughout the day again. We'll have periods of on and off rain and drizzle until the early afternoon. Temperatures again sitting right around 70 degrees and wind gusts of 10 miles per hour before it cools down overnight, and we will see some low cloud cover that makes its way in before we get to Thursday. Looks like we are finally going to get caught up on all that rain we missed, Kate.
All right. Thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng takes a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have some more news, including an interesting new Q poll coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. And you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
As you're getting back to your regular schedules, we're excited to get back to doing what we do best, offering you the freshest seasonal fare and all the ingredients for a healthy start to school. So shop Walter Stewart's for everything fresh, from A, apples to Z, zucchini, and from cotton candy grapes to back to nature all-natural snack bags. We save you time by stocking all of your favorite back-to-school essentials under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
At Greenwood Physical Therapy of Bethel, individualized care, knowledgeable staff, and state-of-the-art equipment provide the best of orthopedic and sports medicine services. Our experienced therapists at Greenwood provide the highest level of knowledge and care. Greenwood accepts most kinds of insurance, and staff are there to answer your questions. Open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., the clinic serves the greater Danbury area and is a convenient drive from Reading. Appointments are available within 24 hours. Just call 203-917-4792 or visit greenwoodphysicaltherapy.com for more information.
Washington Prime, now open on Main Street in Georgetown. Come enjoy our relaxed setting, excellent service, award-winning nightly happy hours, and feast on our creative new American cuisine. Connecticut Magazine's winner for Best Steak, Washington Prime of Georgetown.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this September 26th edition of Your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. I've gotten my guesses in for what's going to be in Donald Ng's Look Back on This Day in History. Now it's time to find out if I was right, which is all anyone cares about, really.
You're sounding confident there. That's good. That's good.
I am confident today.
We got some television history today, but first we're going to go to 1580. Francis Drake returns from a 3-year circumnavigation. He was the first Englishman to sail around the world and the first captain to actually complete the voyage. Drake, as you see there, was knighted and then elected to the House of Lords. 8 years later, he commanded the English fleet that defeated the Spanish Armada, and he died leading an expedition to Panama and was buried at sea in a lead coffin. The location of his remains remain unknown. To 1933, gangster George Machine Gun Kelly surrenders to the FBI. Kelly was a bootlegger who had turned to bank robbing and kidnapping, but really wasn't very good at either. He released his first kidnappee after 2 days with only a vague promise of ransom. The victim simply hung up on the few collection calls that Kelly made later until Kelly just stopped calling. Despite his fame and nickname, Kelly went his entire career without actually killing anyone. In fact, he never so much as fired his machine gun at a person, preferring to shoot cans off of fence posts with it. 1986, 30 years ago, Bobby Ewing returns from the dead as season 10 of the series Dallas premieres. He'd been killed on camera at the end of season 8 as actor Patrick Duffy decided to try for a movie career. Bringing him back required resetting the show 12 full months and meant that all 31 episodes of season 9 were a dream. Finally, now we go to 1960, Chicago, for this.
Good evening. The television and radio stations of the United States and their affiliated stations are proud to provide facilities for a discussion of issues in the current political campaign by the two major candidates for the presidency. The candidates need no introduction. The Republican candidate, Vice President Richard M. Nixon, and the Democratic candidate, Senator John F. Kennedy. According to rules set by the candidates themselves, each man shall make an opening statement of approximately 8 minutes duration and a closing statement of approximately 3 minutes duration. In between, the candidates will answer or comment upon answers to questions.
Yes, the first presidential debate takes place between candidates Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy, also the first televised debate. An estimated 70 million people watched. Nixon had been hospitalized with a staph infection previously and famously looked pale and sick. Now, the old story that TV viewers thought Kennedy won the debate while radio listeners gave it to Nixon is a matter of some dispute. Modern historians think it more likely that not the candidate's appearance, but rather demographics. Homes without a television in 1960 likely skewed considerably older and more conservative and thus more likely to support Nixon. That is your look back in history for today, September 26th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. I only got one today.
You got the good one, though.
I got the good one, right. Well, switching gears now and taking a look at some other news. According to the website dailyructions.com, former 3-term Connecticut Governor John G. Rowland reports to Otisville Federal Correctional Institution today. Rowland was sentenced to 2.5 years after being convicted by a jury in 2014 of campaign finance violations arising out of his furtive paid relationship with Lisa Wilson Foley's 2012 congressional campaign. Rowland was sentenced to 1 year and a day in prison back in 2005 for corruption while he was governor. He resigned his office in 2014. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito for a Nutmeg Sports Update. It was a fun weekend. Great game on Saturday.
It was a lot of fun, and we were at Darien High School on Saturday for the Blue Waves homecoming when they hosted the Greenwich Cardinals in a battle of FCIAC undefeated teams. It turned out to be one of the best games we have seen all season. Both teams trading blows back and forth all the way down to the final minutes before Darien finally came out on top, 42-35 over the Cardinals. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Saturday afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to Darien High School. We are here on the HAN Network as we get set for homecoming with 2x2 set. Finley Collins in the backfield. Peters looking to his left, now over the middle. Pressure coming, tries to get one off. Able to make the catch. Touchdown Wave. It's Maxwell Grant coming up with a big catch.
And it wasn't for lack of trying by Zaire House. He was all over him.
3rd and 7 now, still the 2x2 set. Langen looking left, pumps once, now trying to go up top. He's got a man open downfield, making the catch, makes a man miss. Touchdown Cardinals. It's Anthony Ferraro on 3rd and 7. They go with the hitch and go up top. Now they're good to go as Stewart puts the right arm up. This one high end over end kick. Retreating back and fielding at the 3 is Iobi. Looking to get ahead of steam. Starts in the middle, now cuts it outside.
Back across the hash. Splits the defense down the middle. Nobody going to catch Iobi. He's at the 25-20, 15-10, 5. Dives for the goal line. Touchdown, Cardinals. Excuse me, somebody almost caught Iobi. It's a quarterback sneak all the way. He's heading for the goal line. What is the signal? As we are still awaiting the call, a huge scrum down there.
This is just a melee at the bottom of this.
Nothing yet. And he didn't get it. Stopped short at the 6-inch yard line. Peters under center. Brings Green in motion. Pitch to him, trying to get to the end zone. Touchdown, Darien. Falls to 2-1. Again, Langen looking for someone to fake it to. Doesn't matter, though, as he makes a couple men mitt. Reaching for the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinals. And they're back in this one, trailing by 8 now. They fake the slant. They want to go up for the double move. Jarecki there, tipped. Trying to make the catch. Did he hold on? Touchdown, Cardinals. What concentration. Jarecki got a piece of it. 6.5 left to play in the fourth. Peters in the gun, looking to his right, comes back to the left, wants to take a shot. He's looking up top. He's got Legret all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Wade!
What a response by Darien. 2 big chunks of yardage, and it's like a new team out there.
Again, both offenses putting on a clinic on Saturday afternoon. The final score in that one, 42-35 in favor of Darien. Taking a look around the FCIAC at some of the other scores from this past weekend. Friday night, Staples and Wilton both undefeated, and the Wreckers came out on top by a score of 42-6. New Canaan shut out Central 49-0. Ridgefield on top of Ludlow 49-13. Stanford defeating Fairfield Ward 27-7. The other games Saturday afternoon, Danbury traveled outside the FCIAC against former FCIAC team Harding. They lost 46-7. Trumbull beat West Hill 49-19. St. Joe's over McMahon 43-6, and Trinity Catholic on top of, Norwalk 52-28. We'll have stats and full breakdown of all these games on Nutmeg Sports today at 2 o'clock. We'll also announce our Week 2 nominees for our Athlete of the Week presented by Runner's Roost. In case you missed it on FCIAC Tailgate Saturday afternoon, the Week 1 winners for the Athlete of the Week were Pablo Martinez of the boys soccer team in Darien and Katie Czaplinski of the Ridgefield girls soccer team. Tune in at 2 o'clock for this week's nominee and all of our football breakdown. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's send it back over to Kate.
All right, lots of good stuff, Frank. Thank you so much. In other news, a new Quinnipiac poll shows that the presidential race between Democrat Hillary Clinton and Republican Donald Trump is too close to call, as Clinton takes 44% of American likely voters to Trump's 43%. That, according to the latest Quinnipiac poll released Monday morning ahead of tonight's debate. Libertarian Party candidate Gary Johnson is polling at 8%, with 2% for Green Party candidate Jill Stein. But likely voters asked who will win the debate gave the edge to Clinton, 41% to 32% for Trump. The televised debate will likely be pivotal in the presidential race. 84% say they plan to watch, and 55% say they were more motivated than usual to vote. And the second stage of ticket sales is underway for the Waveney Park Conservancy Tailgate Party, scheduled for Saturday, October 15th. Parking passes may now be purchased for $250 per car after the limited one-week sale of $500 per car parking passes. The $250 tickets, good for up to 6 people per car, began at noon on September 22nd and will continue until sold out. You can get more information at waveneyparkconservancy.org/tailgate, and you can also find out more information at ncadvertiser.com. And in other news today, the 4th annual Milford Restaurant Week will take place the week of October 3rd through the 9th. There will be more than 25 participating dining establishments offering dining choices in a special multi-course prefixed fare. The event showcases the many flavors of Milford, the small city with a big heart, and is made possible this year through volunteers working with the Milford Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Milford Business Association, and Humanetics. Prefixed dinner prices will be $20.95 or $27.85. Where available, there will also be prefixed lunch menus. But you can get more information at milfordrestaurantweek.com. And finally, 4 highly trained noses are heading to patrol, according to Connecticut State Police. 4 four-legged members of the law enforcement family have completed 4 weeks of intensive training and are ready to get to work. The Connecticut State Police K-9 unit has successfully trained and graduated members of the 183rd Bloodhound training class. All 4 canines passed the rigorous certification process and will be working patrol for various agencies. Those canines are specially trained for highly skilled tracking of people. The canines that were pictured include Dory, Blue, Texas, and Ruby. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, our continuing series with Silver Hill Hospital talking about chronic pain awareness, coming up on your coffee break after this.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where high-tech tools go hand in hand with a human touch, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. New Canaan is 6 minutes down the road. New Canaan's a beautiful little town to walk around. I work in Westport. My commute is 20 minutes. It's close to Westchester, where my family is, so the location is ideal. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
I'm a filthy rich executive. I hear the market's down 1,000,000 points. I freak out. I spill my large espresso. The searing pain makes me slam on the brakes. Uh-oh, your fault. And your cut rate insurance may not cover my $90,000 car, so I sue you, because that's what I do. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Visit your local Allstate agent, Nick Montanero, at 6528 Main Street in Trumbull for a personalized quote.
I'm Frank Granito.
And I'm Donald Ng for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Thursday, where we bring you all the top stories from Connecticut sports.
From highlights to player interviews and expert analysis, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports, now Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Czaplinski for the HAN Network, and we're at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan today because September is National Pain Awareness Month, and today we're talking about interventions for those who suffer from chronic pain. And I'm joined by Dr. Chris Cutter, who is the program director at the Chronic Pain Recovery Center here at Silver Hill. Dr. Cutter, happy to talk with you today.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, let's talk a little bit about why is psychotherapy used in treating chronic pain?
So as a clinical psychologist, one of my passions is psychotherapy, and the research I'm doing between here and Yale, I like studying what works and why. Psychotherapies tend to work across the board for a lot of different disorders, and particularly in chronic pain. We find it's going to be really helpful to adjust the lifestyle changes that the patients need to make in order to actually have a full rounded treatment. So in the past and until recently, chronic pain has been treated by medications and pretty much medications alone. And it's an old model, meaning like when you have pain, sometimes you need a medication for breakthrough pain. That there's complete fairness in that statement. But medications alone can't help manage pain. It can actually, it can be quite tempting to keep taking medication to keep treating your pain, because that's kind of what we've been doing since we were kids. But I do like the new direction of how doing preventive medicine works with this. So when we think about pain, we think about the old way of treating pain, or acute pain for that matter. That is, rest, maybe take some medication, and bandage it up. When we're treating chronic pain, it's going to be a whole lifestyle change to how to effectively manage the pain, since we now know the pain signals will not go away. It's kind of this faulty alarm ringing in your body, saying, "Oh, I have an injury," but when actually you don't have one. So the trick with medications is we get used to them. So you take a medication, and eventually it stops to not work as well. So you need more, and that dose stops to work as well. Then you need more and more and more, and you build this massive tolerance. And unfortunately, a lot of our patients become addicted to these pain medications, or just physically completely dependent on them, and they actually go in through a opioid withdrawal if it's opiate medications, or whatever medication they're trying to utilize. It's not being effective as it was. So then we take a look at what in the research, what has been effective, what good clinical trials have been done, and we start seeing managing the pain rather than to get rid of it completely. In psychotherapy, what I usually find is empirically supported psychotherapies have been quite helpful, such as cognitive behavioral therapy and acceptance commitment therapy. But when we think about psychotherapies, why they're so important, we try to see how we can affect the person's mood. And we know by, when we say mood, person's emotional states travel up the same pathways as pain signals do. So we want to actually try to get a way to help the person manage their mood through different avenues by teaching different skills. So one of my favorite ways is to make sure we can restructure the way they think about a problem, decreasing stress doing that way, how they can regulate and manage emotional states, and also help to not repeatedly engage in unhealthy behaviors, such as arguments or trying to over-push themselves when they don't necessarily need to exacerbate that pain. But just thoughts, feelings, behaviors type of tripartite mood of trying to help folks to achieve better mental health.
And can you go into more of some of the examples of different psychological interventions?
Yes, so I like two in particular for chronic pain. And if we're thinking about like these clinics like Silver Hill or Cleveland Clinic, we have a specific time frame we'd like to work with patients on. And I like about this 4 to 6 week model, where I have enough time to actually really fully engross a patient in how to do pain management techniques. And about that 4 to 6 week method, I like using cognitive behavioral therapy and acceptance commitment therapy. Now, both are type of therapies, are these labeled empirically supported psychotherapies, and they're really effective for time-limited treatments like this. So what I like about empirically supported therapies is they're measurable, and we can have folks and clinicians be trained on this. It takes hundreds, if not thousands of hours to get expertise in these types of therapies. But then you know a quality product is going to be delivered, kind of like you know what the medication is going to be. When you know a very good therapy is going to be delivered by an expert clinician, you can count on it being effective for that particular that disorder. So cognitive behavioral therapy, kind of like what I spoke about earlier, is how to effectively restructure thinking behaviors that maybe thought patterns that are not helpful, such as catastrophizing the pain. Emotional states, such as how intense you experience the emotion. How can we actually turn the volume on that down a bit so it's not so exacerbated, which will flare up your pain? And think about specific behaviors, such as my favorite to eliminate first is the behavior to want to rush to a medication or rush to someone to take care of me rather than take a very active role in trying to help and manage your pain yourself. So a lot of we do see with pain folks, people experiencing and suffering from chronic pain, is there's a strong temptation. I'm not saying for the majority of folks, but there is a strong temptation and pull to want to have someone take care of you, or to have a medication treat this so you can move on without your day. So unfortunately, we can't do that at this point as far as the medical technology hasn't caught up with us yet. So we want to have folks have a very active role, have enough skills to cope with it themselves.
Of non-pharmacological interventions.
Well, there's a couple that are, I've run a couple trials on different versions within Yale School of Medicine and the APT Foundation, where we take a look at different sorts of non-pharmacological interventions. And besides the empirically supported psychotherapies, we take a look at something called complementary and alternative medicines, CAMs for short. It's not a new field, but it's definitely getting enough attention now. What I like about these CAMs is that when we exhausted all possibilities, when things are not working, when Western medicine is just not working, let's take a look and really put some good science behind and good testing behind something else that might work, such as yoga, such as video game research, anything that would actually tailor fit to the patient to address their specific needs. And sometimes we have to be very creative with them. The last trial we did was last two trials, I mentioned them, was doing yoga for chronic pain, and there is nothing mystic about it. It's extremely effective. It helps with physical activity, mobility, and a sense of accomplishment. There's a lot of impact on mood, and so there was a solid signal that it needs to be studied more. But also, we had great results, similarly to these exercise video games, just to get rid of some sedentary lifestyles. They're not very particularly rigorous exercises, but they actually are enjoyable. And we start noticing folks have a sense of accomplishment by completing these games. And even if it's for 5 to 8 minutes a day, it gets a person suffering from chronic pain moving. And that's one of the big goals as far as addressing the co-occurring depression that typically happens with chronic pain. And also the pain itself, relieving pain sensitivity. It's not a cure by any sense of the matter. It's just one tool for the toolbox that takes to help manage chronic pain, which is many different tools.
And let's talk a little bit about self-management for someone with chronic pain. What do you suggest?
So that's a good point. So in our earlier interview we had, a lot of this has to do with a complete lifestyle overhaul. So we're really working on somebody to change, besides how they view pain. We'd like them to change, all right, let's see how the people you're associating with your life, is this exacerbating a stressful lifestyle? So socially, physically, are you being mobile enough? Are you attending all your medical appointments, necessary medical appointments? Are you not relying too much on medications to manage the pain? And if you are a spiritual person, and spirituality tends to help, and we take a look at that research as well, it does tend to help with pain sensitivity and pain flare-ups, but only if that is something that is important to you. It's not necessarily better than other folks. It's just only for those folks that are very, very interested in spirituality. But we do notice that similar to diabetes and hypertension, chronic pain emerges like a chronic medical condition just like that, whereas a whole lifestyle health change has to happen between the medications and changing diet, changing the way you look at your physical activity, changing the way you associate with others, and making sure there's enough support in your life.
Now let's talk a little bit about people with chronic pain maybe going on the internet and internet interventions. What can you tell us about that?
So just like with the internet, there's pros and cons with it. So there's some very helpful sites if I'm going to have somebody with chronic pain in my own private practice, or if I'm seeing in my clinic. What I would like them to do is visit very helpful sites that actually can put more tools in the toolbox to help manage pain. And so the UCLA Mindfulness Institute has a terrific site on different types of meditations, and meditation being another complementary alternative medicine is a really helpful way of actually distracting from the pain, to put your mind in a different place.
I'm Kate Czaplinski for the HAN Network.
Different place. Nothing hokey about it. It's actually extremely well thought out scientific methods of having control over your mind and body. There are specific chat forums for folks that are suffering from pain in isolation through the American Pain Society, where folks that are just not yet to be ready to be mobile, they can actually start doing chat rooms like a support group, if you will, and they can kind of talk online. Whether folks are again, not really able, if their pain is too severe and they haven't learned how to manage it yet, if they're not able to leave the house, they can actually engage in these chat rooms, or if they're in these remote areas where there's just not enough support groups around, it's really helpful, like a telemedicine approach, to reach out to folks that are suffering from pain, that you are not alone with this, that a lot of people, approximately 100 million, are suffering from chronic pain.
And what do you suggest people avoid when it comes to internet interventions?
Okay, so self-diagnosing is a big problem. To see specifically what you might have. WebMD is a terrific website. However, it sometimes takes a physician, an expert in neurology or anesthesiology and psychiatry to help out with physically knowing what's going on with you. So I would really avoid self-diagnosing, or just be cautious. The first thing you read might not be true, or somebody says, "Oh, all you have to do is do this to manage chronic pain," or if you take this combination of medications, then you can manage your chronic pain. I did this for me, so that's kind of playing with a little bit with fire and playing with your health in a very unhelpful way. Okay.
Great advice again. Dr. Cutter, thank you so much for talking with us.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, you can find out more about our partnership with Silver Hill Hospital this month at han.network. And thank you so much to Silver Hill Hospital for teaming up with us this month. Again, if you missed any of those interviews that we've run, check han.network for more. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but still a busy day. HAN Arts and Leisure coming up at 12:30, 2 o'clock Nutmeg Sports, and of course, 6 o'clock boys soccer Norwalk at Central. So be sure to check that out live on the HAN Network. We'll see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11.